What is going on, YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and I am happy to have two fellow comic book collectors in the house tonight. I have Matt from Mr. Comics 89, and I have Carlos from Los Comics. Welcome to the channel, guys. What's going on?
Not very much. Just going down after the week.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So today's thing is like with the market going crazy, I really wanted, a few other collectors to come on my channel and really talk about the state of this market, where things are headed, what we're comfortable doing, what we're not comfortable doing, and any other type of information we can kind of give to everybody out there. Because I know I was telling you guys before the show started that whenever I'm at my LCS or whatever, I'm on eBay or an IG or wherever I'm looking to pick up books, I'm kind of like really hesitant right now about what I'm going to pick up and how much I want to spend, because I'm kind of fearful that the bottom's going to drop out at any moment. So I figured a lot of people probably have that same feeling. So I wanted to talk about it. So with that said, I'm going to throw you guys with the first question of the night. All right. You ready?
Let's go for it.
All right. First of all, what are you guys collecting right now in this market? What are you kind of focusing on, like books wise? Whoever wants to start, get.
Well, you can go ahead and start, Los, if you want.
All right. So personally, I'm not collecting too many books at the moment. If I happen to see a book that I've been looking for a while, maybe, and if it's a good price, I might jump on it. Only because I don't see it very often. I did pick up one book recently. I probably do an unboxing at some time, but it's a book that I was looking for, and it doesn't show up very often. So I scooped that up. But normally, and right now I haven't really been picking them up. But what I have been picking up is more like spec, related books. I've been going out trying to hunt, going back issue bins and stuff like that, and see if I could just find a couple little nuggets here and there. And, just kind of flip them right now. That's my mindset right now. My situation right now, I'm trying to, I have other financial things that I'm trying to take care of. So I'm using comic books and trying to flip it to kind of better that situation and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with the market. So, if I can find some good stuff, but for the most part, it's mostly like spec stuff and things like that.
Before I go to Matt, is there a certain, you concentrating on modern, on bronze, on silver, or just any age of comics? You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you heard me.
Yeah. No. So I think right now it's I've been kind of like picking up anything I can, any kind of spec. The only thing I'm really not kind of collecting is like Golden Age. I don't know too much about Golden Age, and to kind of dip my toes in that water, it's a little too deep for me right now. But any kind of like Silver Age books, key issues and stuff like that I can pick up. Bronze, modern. I'll try to pick them up whenever I can, especially even if it's not a spec book, but if it's just like a really good key that usually sells pretty well. I'll try to pick it up right now. So, but yeah, as far as the range goes, I'm open to almost any book.
What about you, Matt? What are you looking to do right now?
Well, I mentioned it briefly earlier before we started that I am collecting a full run of Amazing Spider-Man issues 1 to the current. So I am down to actually 77 books, if my math is correct. I have like half a dozen Superior, which is included in the arc. I have, basically, a few, I think I have a few in the 300s or well there, but mostly my books now are sub 250. They are that are going to be a $30, $40 a pop kind of thing. So, I mean, I've come an incredible distance in the 2.5 years. So I've collected Spider-Man, but this last leg of the race is going to probably be as long because I have to slow down to, I can't just go out and buy these, $100 chunks.
Yeah. But you got the big ones out of the way?
Pretty much. I mean, I have ASM 1 through 10 complete. So, and then I have 25, 129, 122, 121, 300. I have First Carnage, good thing.
Yeah.
252, 31, 50. I have a lot of the major books. I mean, I think pretty much the only thing if I have to consider a major book that's left, I'd have to say it's 13, ASM 13, Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I am not 100% sure. Just without looking at my list back here that you can see behind me, that I have a checklist. I'm not sure how many big keys I have left. I have like minor kind of keys, but nothing else that would seriously break the bank.
Okay.
That's awesome. So is it just Amazing Spider-Man right now, or are you dabbling in other things? You pick up new books, or you're just focusing on the ASM run?
Oh, I pick up new books every week. Although I am debating how my collection is going to evolve into, because I'm looking at it going like, I want to collect Ultimate. I collect like Captain Marvel, the new Fantastic Four, kind of a thing, the newer Fantastic Four books and all that. But I am more and more just an ASM guy. So I'm going, how's my collection going to evolve? Because I'm thinking it's going to branch out and go, well, after I have ASM, do I get sensational now, or do I focus on web? My original thought was ASM is the only thing that matters. Flagship is the only one that matters. Nothing else matters. Now that the goal's in sight, it's going, look, I rejected that girl in high school, but she's looking good now.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my first reads were Web of Spider-Man, not Amazing. So like I like the Web. I was in love with the Web first, and then I went over to Amazing. So I totally get that one.
Yeah.
All right. So my next question is to you guys: is there anything that you're staying away from that I know, Carlos, you said you're looking to kind of buy like spec and kind of flip it if you can, but is there anything you're staying away from? You mentioned Golden Age. Outside of Golden Age, is there anything that you're like, you know what, I don't want to dabble in there because I'm not too sure. Like, I'm not too sure. Like, if you're saying you're speccing, so like when you pick up a book, is there something that that may be coming? I'm like, maybe it's past its point, maybe it's whatever. Because that's what I try to do too. Like, if I see like a book like Werewolf by Night, I'm like, you know what, it's past. We know the show's coming. It's right around the corner. Maybe I don't want to do something like that.
Yeah, I definitely try to watch out for, some, if you want to call them like trap books, where it seems like it's a sure bet, and you're like, oh man, I think this is a good book, and then all of a sudden it doesn't pan out. It's tough to know which ones. I currently, what I try to do right now is I'm trying to see or trying to gauge where like maybe the MCU is going and stuff like that, right? I mean, I feel like they're going more towards being younger in characters, stuff like that, because the actors that they want are actors that are going to be around for another 10, 15 years. So some of the current actors are kind of getting up there on the year, and will they want to re-up for another 10 years, stuff like that. So I think they want to go a little younger. So I've been trying to get more of the younger characters, more of the younger Avengers and stuff like that, more female characters. So that's what I've been trying to do, pick up those characters, and I'm trying to bank on that, and hopefully, those pan out. You can always pick up, blue chip, Silver Age keys, but it's starting to get really expensive to pick those up. Even in low grade, it's getting ridiculous. If you want to try to pick up FF5, First Doctor Doom, 2 years ago, you could have probably picked up a nice, 2.0, 2.5 for maybe $1,500, $2,000. And now that same book is $5,000, $6,000. It's insane. And you want to go mid-range, now you're looking at 5 figures already. So it's bonkers. But those are the ones. I mean, obviously I just can't get into that. That one's just, those are a little too crazy for me right now. But any of those, lower kind of specs that I can kind of jump on, and if they don't pan out, I only spent a few bucks on them instead of saying, oh, I just spent $400 in this book, then it doesn't pan out. Now that book is $150. It's like, So,
what about you, Matt? Anything you're staying away from? I know you got your run going that you're looking to complete, but anything you just like, you know what, I'm going to stay away from that?
Well, I kind of agree that I don't really go much Golden Age, because the only Golden Age I liked was like Superman, and anything back then would be astronomical. But because Golden Age was never. I guess I fit more in the Silver Age just because of Spider-Man. But what I kind of stay away from is just your FOMO, I guess. I'm not going to go after the key just because it's a key. I mean, I love to have first appearance of, well, debatable, I guess. Hulk 181. I love that in anything, even if they had the green label, because I thought that would kind of work with being Hulk book and all that. But I'm not going to buy it just because everyone else is on it too. I mean, I would really like the book, but if it's a sweet deal came across, then I'd go for it. But I'm not diving headfirst into it. I'm not going after the first Thanos just because he was in. I'm going to do it myself. You know, I'm not.
Yeah.
I wasn't buying all the Avengers spec because Kang is going to be here and all that. You know, I have a reprint of Fantastic Four #5 just so I can have the book and not have to worry about going after that thing. You know, so I mean, I'm kicking myself on passing on a second print of Ultimate Fallout 4 for like $20.
Yeah.
You know that.
Dude,
you know,
I
so
used to have a high grade Ultimate Fallout 4, and I sold it for like $150 way back when. I'm like, oh my god, why did I do that?
Yeah, I mean, I could have bought it and sold it for at least $100, and had my comic October, something like Halloween free comic book day book or whatever of the Ultimate Fallout 4, and that's Miles' book there. But yeah, what I just stay away from me. If I had no problem fighting people for the books that I want related to me, you know, like that. I mean, if it's a Spider-Man related book, like a, you know, Edge of Spider-Verse 2, I look for the right kind of book that just appeals to me and all that, and I will find the best deal and all that. I mean, that's when I kind of mix it with everyone else. But I'm not going to buy I'm not going to go out and buy every single key, because these keys are valuable and they're going to be even more valuable in the future, and so I don't want to miss out now. And so my money's going towards my goals and not just collecting every single key because it says the three-letter word behind it.
Yeah, and that's good insight for anybody out there, especially like newer collectors. And there's a lot of people who have really jumped into this market. I was at one of my LCSs today, and he was talking about like he's busier than he's ever been before, and they've been there for 20 plus years. And he's saying so many new collectors have come in the market, and they're just kind of buying everything, and that's what's causing the prices to go up. So it's good that you're focusing on what you want, because I think a lot of people out there are just doing what you said and going out and buying every key they see possible because they think that's the next thing coming.
Yeah, that's I think that's a tough thing too, right? I mean, there's so many applications and stuff like that, so many sites that you can look at and stuff, and you can get wrapped up in the whole key issues and stuff like that. But if you are gonna do something like that, like Matt's doing, right? Like he has his Spider-Man run, right? So like he's focusing more on that. So like if he's gonna pick up a key, it's gonna be a key of that, not a key of some other random ass run. And that's what you want to do, right? If you're into a certain type of book, like you're an X-Men or whatever, try to focus more on those books. Other books will come back around, right? Especially modern books. Those are ones that will come back around. If you just want it, just wait for it, right? It will probably present itself again. They will kind of drop. Those Silver Age books, maybe they might come back down. But those are a little more, they're getting tougher to find, as just because they're Silver Age, they're a little older, especially the higher grade books, right? I think a lot of those might have gotten snatched up earlier on, and now the prices are just kind of crazy. So now you can start seeing like the mid-grade books and even the low-grade books starting to kind of creep up in price. But again, don't just jump on it because you think it's the only time you're going to actually get a chance to get this book. You can wait, you can, save up, you can, sell a couple books that, if you want to kind of thin your collection and you're like, okay, I'm done with this kind of story or whatever. I really don't care about these books anymore. I could kind of sell them, take that money, bank it up, and then buy a nice little key for your run or something like that you really want. That's that. I know, like when I first got back into collecting, I got kind of caught up in that and, kind of just bought a bunch of crazy shit. And then now I look back and I'm like, well, instead of spending all that money on these books, I could have easily just pulled it together and bought this one big ass key or this one. And now I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen for a while if I do want those books. So,
I definitely agree with what you're saying and all that. I've kind of been lucky, I guess, as far as when I've chosen to pounce. I mean, I can be extremely patient, or I can have a hair trigger. Depends on the day, depends on the moment. But certain things like my first Punisher over there, we came into some money, and I had a chance to basically had some money to buy a book, to buy a $1,000 book, and I'm like, what keys do I have left? I'm going, I need first Punisher still. And this book is. I remember the book spiked in price. A bit months ago before and all that. And so I'm like, I just got a bad feeling that if I don't buy this now and strike now, I'm gonna be bleeding through the nose later. And that book now, my 4.5 is, you yourself, Lawrence, was selling a 4.0 for 1,600, and so I paid 850 for mine.
Yeah.
So I know that just by the luck, I saved the money. And in fact, like I said, behind me, I have my ASM3, which is double in value. My incomplete ASM 14 First Green Goblin, which is easily twice the value, if not more now. So I've managed to strike at the perfect time before the value comes. I mean, there are a few times where I felt a little bit of pressure or had a sick feeling. So I moved a little bit quicker than I wanted to, but I still wasn't, hurting by any means. Like my the last book I needed to complete ASM 1 through 10 was The First Lizard at number 6. And so I bought it before I was 100% ready to do it, because I just had the sickest feeling that with Electro coming, with Doc Ock coming back, I just had the sickest feeling that we're going to have the Sinister Six or something very similar very soon, and every single, early character like that, especially the first Sinister, first appearance of all the Sinister Six, is going to skyrocket in value. So that's why I'm a little nervous about ASM 13 still being out there. The last of the my brain said he's spiked because he was in Far From Home. He might have a small spike again if Sinister Six comes, but I don't think it will be as big as it was before, and so that's why
he's already shown up. Yeah,
that's why I went with 6 instead of 13.
That kind of leads me into the next question. Do you see a pullback in these prices? Carlos, you just mentioned it. Like now things are they're crazy from where they were. Like Silver Age books are, they could be had for a fifth of the price like a year ago, and now all of a sudden they're gone bonkers. You see a pullback from where the prices are now, and if so, how much you think?
I see more of a small lull. Like if it jumps from 1 to 100, I see it going down to like. Most books I see going down to about 60, 55, but staying there. I don't see very many dropping down below that. I it's kind of like you overdo it with the physical exercise because your New Year's resolution was to get in shape, but you're not going to completely lose what you gained even if you stopped, exercising afterwards for a little bit. So I don't see it returning back to pre-boom prices, but I don't see every single book staying inflated. Some of the books there might be, like First Punisher and all that. I can see them staying more up there because certain characters are never going to die in popularity, and so that's why you want to strike those and hold on to them for dear life.
Yeah.
But
what do you think, Carlos?
Yeah, I mean, I do think you can start seeing it a little bit now too. Some of the prices are starting to walk back a little. I don't think. I mean, there might be some spikes here and there. I don't feel like your blue chip Silver Age keys will walk back that much. I think they're gonna, even like like I said, an FF5 or something like that, right? The prices went crazy, but I just don't see it coming down as much, right? I mean, if it's, if a 3.0 is $5,000, $6,000 right now, maybe, it comes back down to like 4, but it's not going to go any lower than that, especially, with the potential of him coming to the MCU or something like that or anything. I mean, any kind of rumblings and now that book's going to go back up. I can see modern books definitely walking back a lot, especially if a series, kind of falls by the wayside, or, if it just, kind of tanks a little bit, if the story is not that great anymore. Somebody's killing children, right? Every book in that series is absolutely ridiculous right now. Will that maintain value? It's a modern book. I know some of them are low print run, but it's going to be kind of tough to hold that value, especially if like they end the series and then maybe they start another one and it's not that good and people start forgetting about it a little bit. It's going to kind of walk back down the prices. Some of those rarer books will probably still hold value. If it's like a $900 variant or something like that, it might walk back down to like 600 or something like that. But some of the other books will definitely kind of come back down to reality. And, a $150 book will probably be a $50 book or something like that. But yeah, it's some of those Bronze Age keys will probably hold some value, especially in higher grade. They'll probably walk back because it's just like the stock market, right? These books, they'll find their peaks and valleys, and they'll kind of dip back down, and then you'll have a writer come along, like Donny Cates or something like that, and pull like some obscure ass character, and then all of a sudden that book starts spiking again or something like that. And then once it falls off, then it kind of dies down a little bit. But yeah, it's tough to know. But again, if you jump on a book that you really want, right, and it's to complete a run or something like that, and you think you got a good deal on it, then by all means go for it. And don't feel like, oh shit, like I got screwed on that one or whatever. I mean, obviously try not to like go too crazy on it. If you think you got a pretty good deal on it, fine. But if you feel it's 5 times the value of what it is, just wait on it. It'll walk back, and you'll probably be able to get it, save a little bit of money and stuff like that, and pick it up later on. Just don't go crazy. Like Matt said, he picked up that 4.5 because he had a feeling like, hey, this book is probably going to spike. But Punisher's a pretty popular character. He's more than likely probably going to come into the MCU again. He was really popular in Netflix series and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, you have to pounce on that, right? Like I bought a 6.0 probably like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I think I paid $400 for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you look at the prices now for a 6.0, and it's like, what? It's like, I'm not paying
over $2,000. Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding? Like, no. So, but yeah, it is crazy. But yeah, I mean, don't go too crazy on some of these books, especially the modern books. Don't go too crazy on them. And if you can hold out, man. Just wait, be patient. I mean, every once in a while they do go up and don't come back down, right? And you're like, all right, shit, I missed the boat on that one. But 8 out of 10 times probably it will come back down, and you'll be able to snag it a little later. Yeah. So just be patient.
I can't see myself. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
So I don't see myself being able to. I mean, I have my narrow-minded set. I mean, I have small. I probably spend about $25-$30 for every week for new books or whatever. Maybe every 2 weeks spend. But I can't spend all that money for all this. So like something's killing the children or something like that. I mean, going like, these might be good stories and all that, but maybe I've always kind of been narrow-minded and focused. Like I can be too focused in the race, and I don't see what's going on over here.
Put the blinders on, and that's it.
Yeah, I can get too focused in what I'm doing to where I can neglect some of the things because I just get so narrow-minded, and that helps in some things where I just like, okay, this is not Spider-Man, not Fantastic Four. I'm sure it's a good story, or something's killing the children, or Donny Cates is doing a great job with Thor, but I'm not diving headfirst into these books that everyone else is raving about because I cannot justify adding $4 more a month for this book, $4 more for that book, and all that. And so it ends up falling aside. And then by the time I do show a little bit interest in a book, like say the Three Jokers, the hype's already down, and I can buy the books at a 9.8 at a reduced price that I like, and not have to worry about it. So just by the time sometimes, like I said, the speed at which I move can sometimes be slow enough that the market drifts on without me, and I'm like, oh, look at this over here. I can't.
There you go. Exactly.
I just want to get a comment in chat. So Woody Warren says, my brother and I lucked up about an ASM 129 in auction back in the late 80s, which that's the way to do it, right? You get it like back then. It's like, I don't even want to ask what you pay for that back then, because that's probably like a dime on the dollar right now.
Yeah.
And Jason Ovian says he missed the boat in the first Loki, but I'm going to swim to it and buy it anyway. We'll sell something else I did good on. I was trying to pick up that book forever, and I thought $500 was too much at one point, so I feel stupid now. But
I don't have the first appearance of Loki. I think I have his origin, but it's missing a like a coupon cutout from the back cover, and so I paid like $20 for it and all that. And so like, I mean, I could probably sell it for a lot more now. Before the Loki series popped up, I could probably sell it, but I just didn't think about it at the time. But
dude, what do you say to pay $200 for that? That's insane. I mean, I don't know what grade it is, but that's crazy to pay $200 for that book. That's awesome.
Wow.
But you guys kind of mentioned it. What kind of lead me into the next question is like, with the market the way it is, would you be selling anything right now? I'm going to take Amazing Fantasy 15 for now, because a 1.5 of the book, I used to own one. I remember selling that book and I sold it for more than I paid for it, but it was like around $13,000. You look at a 1.5 now, it's over $20,000. I know it's like the biggest Silver Age key there is, but is that sustainable? There are a lot of copies of that book. I know it's everybody's Grail, so maybe that's not the best example, but like, should we be taking profits? We mentioned the stock market. Should we be taking profits on some of these books?
I see comic books as just as good as stocks, honestly, and they're just as valuable as an AT&T stock in AT&T or Apple, kind of thing like that. I mean, 2 years ago, my wife, as a small little joke, she got fired from her job because a customer took something the wrong way. Like a little joke, a cow with a tip jar. Don't forget to tip the cow. The little tipping cow joke and all that. But the customer was like, they're trying to force me to give her money for a tip, and the boss just fired my wife, and so I had to all suddenly figure out a way to pay for her bills and mine. So I sold my old ASM 300. I sold my first Watcher signed by Stan Lee, and I sold some other books, and I raised the money to pay for all our bills or all her bills until she got a job. So this might be like a car in a money pit, but I could sell all 5 of the books behind me, have $6,000 and be fine for the next couple of months and all that. This is, I often joke about my wife and going like, this is the money I'm raising. I'm raising the money for my funeral cost. Do you mind? So it's like, the way I see it is, I've sold books when it's been financially needed, and it's kept us afloat.
But do you feel in this market that prices are so high that I need to sell something because I feel like I won't get as much value for them later on down the road? Like, that's the question I pose to myself. Should I be selling stuff right now because the market's going insane?
I frankly don't feel the need at all, because frankly, 9 out of 10 books that are expensive are my ASM, and I'm not. And those are the books that I actually don't want to get rid of, that I want to actually gift to my son or someone else when I die to keep the collection whole. But because I don't plan. I sold a book, the more valuable books at the time, and I got it back as quickly as possible, as soon as I could. So, but otherwise, aside from a couple of books, like my like the first appearance of the They Live on the Moon, the Crystal is one of them. Whatever it is, it was like the Fantastic Four for Inhumans or whatever. And like maybe my FF48 or 4950, things and something like that. Other than a few books like that I could get big money for, I'm not gonna walk over my drawer, flip over a book and cash in on it. I don't have that many particular books. Most of my stuff is modern, because when I got into collecting, aside from my ASM and a few keys I pick up here and there. So I don't feel the need to sell in my ASM because they're not going anywhere.
Yeah. What about you, Carlos? You feel the urge to kind of sell something because the prices are high?
It honestly, it depends. If it's a book that I am like, I really don't feel like I need it anymore, or it doesn't fit in my collection, I don't mind moving it, right? Especially like Matt was saying, if you have other financial needs and stuff like that you're trying to get accomplished, or maybe you're trying to get an even bigger book. I don't mean right now. If you are selling, I think it would be a great time to sell. If you're a seller, you can probably make the most bang for your buck. If you hold off, will the market start cooling down? Yeah, you might lose a few bucks. You might even lose a few bucks because you sold too early, right? It's happened to all of us. I've sold plenty of things that you know, I sold and I thought I made pretty good money. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, look, it fucking doubled. Like, great. Like, you know, but again, I still made my profit on it. So I'm like, I can't be too mad. But yeah, you know, I think if you're willing to let go of some books and it's not going to, you know, hurt your collecting goals and you have something in mind that's not going to hurt you, then by all means go for it. Right. I mean, you know, for example, I'm not collecting an ASM run. Right. But I did have ASM 121 and 122, both 9.6s, and I sold them both. I bought them, you know, years ago, and you know, a fraction of what I actually had them for, and I sold them for you know, almost $4,000 or something like that. So just in 2 books. So you know, again, do I love the story? Do I love? Yes, absolutely. Will I get them back in the future and get, you know, a 5.0 that looks presentable? Absolutely. For me, the grade, you know, a nice silver age key, I'm okay with it. A bronze age key, I'm okay with that. I don't need the 9.6. I mean, did it help me out? Absolutely. Did I cash in on the market being a little hot? Yes. So, I mean, I have no problem if you're trying to cash in right now. If you have a hot book and, you know, you're willing to move it, sure. If you have doubles and triples, like, you know, some people have, you know, I'm not one of those because I just couldn't afford them. But if you have it, yeah, I mean, I say this is a good time. The market is hot. There's, you know, this influx of new money from the movies and TV shows and people getting into comics now. And, you know, all of a sudden you even have, you know, card people, Pokemon cards and all that stuff. Those people kind of coming into the comic book market and they're flooding the market with all this money. That's why these books are just like going absolutely bonkers. You know, you have D-Runk who bought an X-Men #1 4.5, you know, for $6,000 or whatever it was, and it was like, that's a, you know, pretty good deal. All of a sudden, it felt like it was overnight, and that book is a $20,000 book. And it's like, what? It was like, holy crap!
Still have it?
It's insane. He still has it.
Still have? Yeah. See,
he still has it.
Like,
it's like that's tough.
That's what's tempting to me. Like, if you buy a book that cheap and then overnight you're making, you know, 300% on your money. I mean, that's a pretty good return. That's what, like, that keeps me up. Like, I feel like every book that I buy right now, I have to sell something just to kind of keep it even. Like, I don't want to just keep throwing money at something.
Yeah, I'm busy formulating arguments and convincing viewpoints because, like, okay, I have a complete ASM run now. Honey, I would like to refinance the house so I can get Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah,
1.0 is fine.
Yeah,
dude, listen, I was on a simple IG live stream, and Reggie was talking about just getting that A15 forever, and I'm just like watching the live stream. All of a sudden, I see him go, "I'll take that book in the top right hand corner," and it was A15. I'm like, "Holy shit, he just bought it!" Like, so, like, it just can happen like that. I'm like, wow. So.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. But yeah, like I said, I mean, it's right now. I feel like it's a seller's market. If you have the books and you're willing to part with them, and if you feel like down the line you might be able to get them back, will you get the same grade? Maybe not. You know, but if you really truly care for the character of the book, you wouldn't care about the grade, right? You just say, you know what, the hell with it. I got my money, got my profit. I just want the book back. If it's presentable, it looks nice, fine. I pay half the price of whatever, and I'm good with that, right? And like I said, if I want those 2 ASM books back, you know, if I get them at 6.0s or something like that, and they present well, and I only pay a fraction of the price of what I sold the other ones for, fine.
Yeah.
I made my money. I did what I had to do with it, and now I get them back. They're in the collection. They present well, and I have them. So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's all in what you want. If you really truly care about this book, then you wouldn't move it, right? I mean, I have a book that I almost sold, and my wife saw me almost break down, almost sell this book, and she was like, "Do not sell that book." She's like, "I saw the video. It looked like you were about to cry. Do not sell that book." It was like, "We'll do anything else. Keep that damn book." It was like, everything else you can sell, but that one, keep it. So I was like, okay. I mean, it was my Edge of Spider-Verse 1 in 25 variant, the Greg Land variant, and it's a 9.8. So you can see what the prices of that book are going for now. They're almost hitting like 5 figures. And, you know, I almost sold it. When I bought it graded already years back, and I didn't pay anywhere near that. So the fact that I was like, I still have it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there was one time with my wife. I really wanted the Thanos gauntlet that I saw at Barnes and Noble, and I was like, going $100. I'm going like, honey, I want you to tell me no. Why? I want you to tell me no. Why don't you tell me no? Because I want this. Or I like this a lot. Do you want it? Well, yeah, I want it. Then buy it. Don't just tell me no. I walk home with it going, I told you to tell me no. Now I spent $100 I didn't want to spend. You're supposed to be my rock, damn it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
That's great. I wish I would have that in my wife. My wife doesn't want to be involved in the comic part of this. She thinks, she's like, what are you doing? I'm going to do a YouTube video. Oh, like I get that. Oh.
I get the same thing.
Well, that's my wife too, but she just encourages me. Do you want it? Yes, then get it. So I had to develop my own backbone because I did that the other time going, I really want this book. I really want this book. Then get it going like, I can't afford it right now. Look at that price. No.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I'll pay
I sent you this next question through email because I wanted to give you a little bit of time. I don't know if you had the time to do it, but like if you were picking 5 books right now that you wanted to go out and buy in this market, what would it be? Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, I want to go buy an A15. I'm saying something you'd actually like go out and get. Like, what 5 books would you go out and like, I need right now? Like, I really put the money to that that I'm looking for.
Well, I built a small list. Some of the books that are not that wouldn't be that much. It is like I thought of with the whole turn right here with Ben Reilly coming back and Peter taking a break, whatever, with his last story arc here in 5 issues. I thought, I really should get Web of Spider-Man 118. In fact, I have that book coming in the mail. Should arrive tomorrow. It might not. I didn't pay. I paid for a mid-grade book. Top staples attached kind of things. And just I wanted the book. I just didn't want to pay $200 for a 9.8 book. And so I'm very good at being happy with mid to lower grade books, if it suits my needs. And so I would say I would want 118 because even in the Clone Saga and upcoming now, he might not be a valuable key, but he is a important character. So considering he's still around, and the next 25 issues, who knows what his story is going to be? If it leads to something else in the future, it's this whole 25 issues between 875 and 900. I'm assuming is important to have. I would still go out and get Ultimate Fallout 4, just because if they do bring the marriage back, like I'm hoping, or they do think move on, because my kids like me, people like me and older identify with the older Spider-Man or identify with the Thing, not younger kids. We grew up with this character. We like to see him progress. So I think it'd be a good idea to have the eternally young Miles character, single and whatnot. And then you can have the still not very old, but the family, because what's a greater responsibility than having a wife and a family? So that would be, I would think. So that's why if they bring back the marriage. So I'd say Ultimate Fallout 4 with Miles because it's the Spider-Man and then the Spider-Man from the future. ASM 13 just because it's one book I still need. Got to get it. Eventually I had to throw it out there, so I'd probably buy it even if it increases in value still. I listed Batman Beyond #1 because it's my favorite Batman, and that series has to be coming back eventually if they do a live-action movie or something like that. Because I bought that book, and it got a 9.8 in it, and then when the whole spec later on, and they increased in value, is going like, I'm glad I bought it when I did. Then ultimately, I guess, like I said, the whole reason I said it got to ASM 6 or whatever, or 129, is I just have a feeling that they will eventually bring out the Sinister Six in some fashion. So I would get ASM Annual #1 if at all possible, because it's only going to go up or see another spike for sure. Because I've not been disappointed with any Spider-Man related movie from the MCU. I've been completely happy with pretty much. I think there might have been one movie I was slightly disappointed in, but I'm not sure right now. So I've always been happy with the MCU movies, and so just if they do the Sinister Six, something like that, I'm just gonna see something.
I would like the Sinister Six to show up too. I think what they're talking about putting together for this movie, I think it's gonna be 6 villains, but I don't think they're gonna brand it as Sinister Six. I think they'll eventually bring in like the MCU Sinister Six and like these like the guys that are coming from the other universes. I don't think they're going to brand them Sinister Six. That's just my opinion. Because I think Marvel, at least with the MCU, they like to stick to, they like to be as much comic accurate as they can, especially when putting together like I think groups of stuff. So I think like having a guy like the Sandman is, I believe is original part of Sinister Six, Vulture, Electro, Mysterio. Who am I forgetting?
Vulture,
Doc Ock.
Mysterio, Doc Ock.
So I mean, I think that we'll see, but yeah, I like those 5 from you, Matt. Those are pretty good. Yeah. What about you, Carlos?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like most of mine are more like older books. I do have one more modern book, and that's Ultimate Fallout 4. I think I had it before. I sold my copy. Wish I held on to it, sure, but at the end of the day, I think it's still a book that it spiked. It kind of came down a little bit, then it spiked again. I think the book still has room to grow because the character is just so popular. And I think he's going to be a mainstay. He's going to be in the MCU for a long time. A lot of kids like him and stuff like that. And it's just a great book. I would actually still look out for the second prints. If you can get a second print, either one of the second prints, if you can grab those, I think those are going to be good because once the first print starts going crazy and people can't afford it, they're going to start looking for those. And right now they're still kind of affordable. So if you can kind of snag those, I'd say grab it. It's still his first appearance. Just because the second print doesn't matter. It's still his first appearance. So I would snag those if I get a chance. So I'm got my eye on a couple. I haven't really pulled the trigger, but we'll see what happens. Next, I'm looking at Ghost Rider #1. Right. I think Marvel Spotlight #5 is becoming just
294,000 or whatever it was, right?
Absolutely ridiculous, right? It was one of those books where, again, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, you could have had a nice high grade 8.0 copy for $2,000, $1,500. I mean, it was affordable, and now it's just like holy crap, like it just exploded. So I think I'm leaning more towards maybe picking up his first solo title, Ghost Rider #1. It's still a great book, and I think right now it's still kind of affordable, and you can still get a nice mid to high grade copy, and it's not gonna break the bank. So I think if you can find those and get a good deal, I'd say jump on that, because once Spotlight, all the mid grades start drying out, everybody's going to start going to the next book.
It's also the first Damien Hellstrom too, so that's a double right there, right?
Yep. So I think that's a good book. And next, Submariner #1. It's a book that for a long time it was it wasn't really it was undervalued, I think, and the market kind of corrected itself, and then of course with rumors of him coming out, and then actually casting rumors and all that stuff, the book kind of spiked a little bit, but I think it's still a good book. I think it still has room to grow. I think the character is actually a pretty cool character, but does he get a lot of shine? Not so much. Hopefully the MCU does justice for the character, and who knows, that book can spike again. But I think it's a really cool character, and it's a nice nice book to grab if you can get a good deal on it. Next is a book that I need to complete my trilogy, so that's why it's in there, and it's FF48. Right, I have 49, I have 50, I don't have 48, and obviously the book.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's insane right now.
It definitely spiked, with obviously Galactus rumors and Silver Surfer rumors and stuff like that. But I think you might still be able to find some deals out there, especially if you're willing to get a nice like mid to low grade copy and a nice raw copy, right? Don't be afraid to get a raw copy. Everybody is always like, oh, I need to get it graded. It's like, why, right? Both copies that I have of 49 and 50 are both raw copies. And I think I got pretty good deals on them before they spiked. But it's just, I love that storyline, and it's something that I wanted to get. And of course, should I have got it back in the day? Of course. But I was focused on other things at the time, and that kind of sat on the back burner because I'm like, oh, nobody's really talking about it. And then, of course, it spiked, and it's like, damn it. but yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty good book if you can still get that. And of course, with obviously, we know the Fantastic Four is coming and stuff like that. So it's just a great book to have, regardless if they show up or not. It's just a great book to have.
Yeah.
And my other one is X-Men '94, with Giant Size X-Men #1 doing what it's doing, and I don't see that book coming back down anytime soon. And if it does, it's not going to come back down hard. It's going to stay up there pretty good. It's a book that a lot of people are like, oh, this is my Grail book. And, so I think it's going to stay up there. But, people kind of forget, like, hey, 94 is also like the start of the new run, the Chris Claremont run on X-Men. And, it's still second appearance, third appearance of characters and stuff like that. And it's just a great book to have. It's a new team, starting the run. So I think it's a good book. I have a copy graded, but if I can find another copy, I definitely snag it up if I can.
It's funny you mentioned that book, because you know what? I did a top 10 undervalued books that I'd be looking to buy right now, and that was #1 on my list. Yep. And people were roasting me for it, saying, how could you have that #1? I'm like, just for all the reasons you just explained. I'm like, it's in the run. It's the first appearance in the run, for what it is. I mean, you saw Giant Size go nuts. Like, this is the next book. Yeah. People were killing me for it. I'm like, there's no way.
It's a great book. I mean, and that's the thing. It got undervalued for so long, and everybody was forgetting about it because they were going after Giant Size X-Men #1 and all these. And it's like, you forgot about that one. Like, that's a good book. And I picked it up years back, and I got it double signed by Chris Claremont and Bob McLeod, and I'm happy that I have it. And I got an 8.5, and it's actually a decent copy. And you look at the prices now for an 8.5 and stuff like that. Yeah. They went nuts, and it's crazy, but it's a great book to have. I did have a bonus book in there, and I'm just gonna throw it out there because we have been shown like DC love, and that's because DC just, as much as I love DC, I mean, they have been just abysmal.
It's Warner's, man. They've killed everything that they've done.
Their shows, I mean, some of them are okay. Movies are just been, awful. The direction that they're taking. Some of their books, their series, they're actually not bad reads, but they're just not sustaining the characters enough, right? As like Marvel's doing it with their characters, even with Boom Studios and all these independents, their things.
Independents are killing it. They're killing independents.
I got into comic books collecting Superman and Action Comics when I got into comic books 3 years ago. That was because Superman was my favorite character as a kid. And so when I got into comic books, my first comic book was an Action Comics book. It was a graded Action Comics book. It was my very first book. But I recently decided to drop Action Comics and Superman because I just didn't like the story anymore. It just was really going downhill and sucked. I mean, it completely lost me what the hell was happening. And I mean, I love John, JR, JR, and all that. I love him, the artwork and all that for Spider-Man. But in Superman, it sucked, at least to me. I just didn't like it. And so I dropped the first 2 books I just started collecting, and Superman and Action Comics, and I also collect the older books now and then if I find a key or a book I like. But I'm not sure if I'm going to ever go back to collecting Superman again, at least the newer stuff, just because I'm not sure what it is.
So what was the book?
It was first appearance of the Eradicator, Action Comics 6 something. But yeah, it's a die cut cover, the green filled with the logo, just like I said. It was 9.2. I was getting a tattoo touched up, and so I was just staring at it for hours, going, "That's a nice cover." The red and the green, kind of Christmassy. I like that. If I didn't just get a tattoo, I'd probably spend the $75 and get it. So I walked out, never gonna see the book again. Yeah. Never gonna see the book again. I'm gonna come back and it's not there. I come back and it's there. So like, yeah, I'll get it. And that's just like tattoos. It's not addicting. One book and I'm done. Now I'm staring at a huge wall and thousands of dollars worth of investments. And I'm like going, what did I do?
Carlos, what was the book that you were going to throw as an honorable mention?
I was going to say Green Lantern 87. First John Stewart. I think that's, I like the character. I like John Stewart. And, Green Lantern, obviously a TV show when HBO Max, TV show coming out. I would have to assume that he's actually going to be in it. He's a popular character. you know, being a minority and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't throw him in there. And I think you might still be able to find an affordable first appearance, right? You know, you can a nice raw copy. You can still find them. Prices are starting to go up a little bit, but if you can find a good deal on it, I say that's really the only one. I mean, I can't. It's hard to pick a DC book that, you know, is at the point is almost worth it. I mean, it's nice to pick up, you know, First Poison Ivy and stuff like that. But those are books
I was gonna say
I have.
The Silver Age Batman Rogues, they're really undervalued, right? Because those books are great.
Probably like the only, you know, run that if you want to pick up some, you know, nice, you know, first Ra's al Ghul or any of those, like maybe, you know, pick those guys up. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's tough. I mean, just like you don't really hear a market for DC right now. It's really not there.
I know. You mentioned that like picking up even raw books. Like I had mentioned to you on the last time me and you spoke, but I'm only picking up raw books now. I can't even tell you the last time I bought graded books. Like the graded books are out of control. Like everybody wants like a definitive grade. They want, you know, a lot of people use CGC. You know, a lot of people are going over CBCS. But like I have been just buying raw books because I don't think they're going to be around for much longer. I think everybody's slabbing everything, and I'm just kind of trying to pick up everything raw that I can. One, because you're getting better deals on this stuff. That's the first thing. If you're good at grading books, you know, you can kind of spot the deals when you can find them. But I think it's worthwhile to pick up these stuff raw because you are getting those better deals. So that's just me. Like I'm keeping a lot of my stuff raw. I did recently send like a really small thing to CGC only for the fact that I needed these books protected because they were high dollar books and I'll probably get rid of them. But it brings me to my next question. Are you guys slabbing anything right now? Like, I haven't really seen too many unboxings and stuff. So like, I know a lot of people but they're backlog and stuff, but are you guys slabbing stuff at all yet or no recently?
Well, I'm slabbing books now and then. And I don't have quite the money to send in exactly right now because I do it, but I have a list of books. Like I'm going to take ASM 6. I'm going to take my ASM 1 with my facsimile cover because it was coverless. And a few books I'm going to take to the con to just drop off there directly so I don't pay $15 extra just to ship it out to them. Just here you guys go. I trust them to safely carry it down there to Texas to slab it and all that and send it back. You know, but I just send things now and then, just like I had a couple of political books, like a Obama Spider-Man cover and a couple other things. I send a few books now and then, like I send batches of 4 or 5 out. But I don't do it too regularly because I usually have to have the extra money because it just seems like life gets in the way. I can't justify $200 just yet, you know. So, but do that. But to answer the other question, yeah, I do get raw books now and then too. Like I got FF 48 49.50 last year or whatever, or a year and a half ago. I paid $500 for all 3 because there was a problem. All 3 had problems. The 50 had a signature on it by someone. It wasn't an artist or anything, but like someone just wrote their name on it. 49 was cover was attached and split right down the middle, and 40 and 48 the cover was just attached. So I sent all 3 of them off to get graded to protect them, and all of the value nowadays, the value when coming back, you know, 48, you know, is worth way more than the $500 for all 3 books that I paid for.
Yep.
You know, just I like I said, I had no problem going raw and slightly ugly, just because it fits my budget and all that, you know? And it's pretty to look at.
No, I agree, man. You gotta collect within your means. You gotta go with where you're comfortable. It's better to have, you know, an FF 48, you know, that you're happy with than to not have one at all, right? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm currently working on a submission of books to send in. I'm typically right now sending in books that I'm trying to like come back and actually sell them. Well, what I'll do is you know, I'll throw in, you know, 12 or 13 books or something like that, and one book will be like a personal book, right? So like the 12 or 13 books are going to be for sale, and then the one book is for me. So like they'll pay for itself, and then my submission book will be free or something like that. So that's the way I look at it. I'm like, okay, I get to keep one of my own that's staying in the personal collection. The rest of them are being for sale. But yeah, so that's currently where I'm at with Grail. I mean, I can't do, you know, the 25 book pre-screening, and I
don't know. Anybody does it, man.
I can't. I mean, I see people like, oh, I sent in, 325, thing pre-screen. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, if they all get graded, I mean, it's $500, $600. I'm like, yeah, I can't do it. I can send in, maybe 12, 13 books or something like that. And, hopefully most of them come back high grade. I usually tend to pick and choose which ones are going in. I, clean them and press them and stuff like that. And I'm hoping for, the highest grade possible. And, then the one book that's mine, it's one of those things where like, if it comes back high grade, it's fine. But it's staying in the personal collection. So, if it's not a 9.8, I don't care. It's not like, oh, it needs to come back a 9.8. Like if it's a 9.6, 9.4, whatever, it's staying with me. I don't care. It's just, I just want to have it and stuff like that.
Do you guys use third-party pressers or do you do it yourself?
I don't have a presser. I've used my LCS for some of the books. And then I've paid once to have a book pressed by CGC. Otherwise, I tend to go, looks good to me, send it off.
Yeah.
I don't bother pressing it and all that. I'm not,
Nice.
But the eventual goal, again, one of the eventual goals is to have my own press to, and then I can experiment on the books that I like or I have that you need pressing, but I'm not going, oh crap, I just lowered it a grade kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I lowered it a grade. Wasn't that important anyway. It's now worth $3 instead of $4.
Yeah.
But the eventual goal is to be able to press it myself if I want a book pressed and all that. But like I said, do I want to spend $150, $200 on a presser, or do I want that ASM book over there that I need for my collection? Decision, not already decision. Give me the book.
Listen, I was real skeptical about doing it myself, and I was watching videos and like, oh, is this something I really want to do? Because use CGC to press stuff like CCS, it's crazy expensive. Like to do it yourself is like, yeah, you're spending the money on the press, but it's not that expensive. It's like $200 or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But like, if you send like one book to get pressed, it's like $100, which is crazy. So like, to me, like I bought one and I try to learn how to do it and I practice and like, I think I'm doing all right. I press books myself. That to me, it's worth it. I'm not using a third party anymore. Like it's just way too expensive.
Yeah. Especially nowadays for me, I guess. And once I get my own presser, I got solar panels on my house a year ago. And since then, I don't have much of an electric bill.
That's awesome.
In fact, I think pretty much the only bill I have is the natural gas. I don't think I've seen the electric portion of my bill since. And so if I get a presser and do it during the day, I'm pretty much can guarantee that I can press and not pay for the energy I use.
There you go.
So
there you go.
Nice. Yeah. No. I started pressing myself. I don't know, maybe like 2 years now, something like that, and maybe a little less. I used to send books to CGC to get pressed and stuff like that, and it just took forever. The time of it was ridiculous. I sent the book in and I didn't get it back for 7.5 months, and I'm just like, okay, I can't do this. And then even at that, it came back, and I didn't feel like they did an adequate job. I felt like it could have been better. It was one of those things where it's like, hey, they just did one press. Okay, send it off. And that's it. I kind of talked to them about it. I'm like, hey, this doesn't look like they could have got this out. And they basically told me, well, if the grader feels like if another press is not going to do anything or it's not going to, make the grade go up, then they don't care. And I'm like, yeah, but I care because I want the book to present as best as possible, not because I want it to be a higher grade. Like,
and you're paying the money.
Yeah,
exactly.
I paid for a service. Like, you said you can get these out, get it out. Like, I don't understand. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump in. I'm going to try it. I got a press. And I mean, honestly, I think it's the best thing I did. I'm pretty sure it saved me a ton of money so far. I've sent in at least 2 or 3 submissions with books that I've pressed. And, I feel like the results are actually been pretty good. But yeah, it would have cost me how much money if I would have actually got all those books pressed by them. And I was like, yeah. And the time on top of that. So I'm like, no, I can press, 1 or 2 books a day, and I come in, clean it up myself, throw it in the press, run it for 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is, shut it off, forget about it, come back the next day, pop it open. Okay, cool. That one's done. Throw another book in. And, I don't have to be there the whole time. Most of the time is like the cleaning part of it. Like if it is really like gunky and shit, takes a little longer to kind of clean it up. But the press part of it is not that's not time consuming, right? I mean, most of the time it's going to sit in the damn press cold for hours on end. It's only heated for a few minutes. But the cleaning part is the part that takes like the longest time. And that's the one that you have to be a little more meticulous on and take your time. But I mean, if you just take your time, take a few minutes at night or whatever it is, and that's it. It does it on its own, right? It just sits there and you're good to go.
And that's one of the questions I want to bring up for anybody who is out there watching this, like, you know what, if you haven't pressed books before, it's not that hard. It's well worth it than sending your money out and waiting 7 months, like you said, and having CGC, whoever you use, do it, because it costs a lot of money and it's just wasted money where you could be putting toward whatever you want, books or whatever. So don't be intimidated by it because it's not that bad.
Yeah. And I will say, the main thing about it is patience, right? Don't try to press a book or do something when you're in a rush, right? Do it when you have the time. Don't be like, oh, I got 10 minutes, I can do this real quick. Don't do it. You'll forget something and you'll mess something up. You're gonna be pissed off. Take your time. Do it when you have the time. If you have any questions, reach out to. There's plenty of people in the community that press their own books and stuff like that, and everybody's more than willing to give information, give feedback. Like a few people reached out to me and stuff like that. I've reached out to a few people, and everybody does things a little different, right? I mean, most things are kind of the same. There's some things that the basics, right, you have to do, but some people found like little tips and tricks and stuff like that you can do, and most people are willing to share that, right? I mean, it's whatever, what I mean? Like, hey, like even if I am doing this as a business, you're not going to lose business, right? People are still going to send it to you because they know the reputation and stuff like that. So everybody's willing to share the knowledge and stuff, and it's a really good resource to just reach out to people. You'll see people on Instagram talking about it, on YouTube, and most people will actually gladly give the information, give you tips and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to kind of jump in and stuff like that and think that you'll be in this all by yourself. It's like, you'll have plenty of support, man.
Yeah. I only have one more question, then I'll open it up to you guys if you want to ask anything. If you could have one book, any book, what would you buy? Anything. If there's money wasn't an option.
It's going to be sad to say and predictable, but I want that completed ASM 15. I don't know.
That's fine. Now, listen,
right now I have a single graded page of AF-15. It's from 2 or 3 pages before the Spider-Man story. I bought it for like $350 on eBay because now I can claim to own a piece of it, But
you put it on Instagram, right? I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd buy that just to have it, all that. So basically,
because I have my history, man. That's history. Worth it.
I have my facsimile 9.8 over here, and I got my page. So it's like, well, I need that real thing, So that was what I did, because like seriously, in the future here, I'm gonna be like, hey, hon, I found someone willing to hold the price at $20,000. You need to refinance the house, just so you know. I pay for the mortgage anyway, refinancing. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about you, Carlos?
I would have to say mine is Fantastic Four #5, First Doctor Doom. It's my favorite character. I wish I jumped on it when I had the chance years ago, but it is what it is. And, hopefully, over time, I'm selling books and stuff like that. I'm trying to, do the things that I want to do, but I'm also putting money to the side. And, hopefully I will, get a decent copy. I mean, like I said, it doesn't need to be high grade by any means. I just want the book. But if there was money was no object, I'm going high grade, getting a beautiful ass copy. But that's my book right there.
Yeah,
dream big, fellas.
If money was the option, I've seen a couple of these things on eBay, whatever, going complete ASM run. 200.
I saw those. I always see those. Yeah, they have like 1 through whatever.
So it's going like, shit. I went. My state was like had 5 people going. You got vaccinated. 5 people will get $1 million. I'm going like, pay off the house or buy a complete run. Pay off the house or buy a complete run.
Wait, you're almost there. You only have 77 issues left, and you're almost there.
That's crazy.
But then
that's insane.
I can buy the other run and then go, better copy?
Wait, which one?
Better copy? Better coffee.
I can imagine, like, where do you put, like, where are we at? We're like 900 something right now, right? ASM?
871.
871.
So
Where do you put all this stuff, man?
over there.
All they're all just labeled ASM. That's it in a box.
Yeah, I have
Boxes.
I built a comic book kind of filing cabinet, little drawer set. I mean, I have a video on my YouTube channel. I built it. Basically 12 long boxes, but like 4 inches shorter than a long box over here. The top 4 are ASM, you know, and then the other 8 down below are the rest of my collection, which I'm quickly starting to run out of room now. So now I'm going, do I really need Incredible Hulk? And do I really need, you know, X-Men?
Wow.
Because it's not Spider-Man.
That's crazy. That's awesome. 77 books, man. Yeah. A question: Do you also try to get like the second prints and, you know, like variants stuff like that, or just only the first prints?
I've gotten the annuals when I come across them, and if I, you know, whatever, I'll eventually get the annuals too. I'm positive, but you know, it's one of those things that going, I should get the annuals too. You know, kind of a thing. I have a couple of things, like I have the second print of ASM 101, you know, first Morbius.
Mm-hmm.
I love that silver and blue. I love that second print. The first print is ugly colors to me. I don't like the first print and how it looks. I'll take the second print because it looks so much prettier.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I don't need the first print.
Okay.
I don't need it in the best condition. Like I have 2 copies of ASM 36, the 9/11 issue.
Mm-hmm.
I have this one here in a 9.8, which bought for like $120 or $100 on eBay at the time. And then I found another one with like kind of a white kind of spot, like someone like rubbed off a little bit, like something like ink rubbed off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my reader copy.
Okay.
You know, but even if I didn't have it, even if I didn't have it, I'd be happy with that one until I came across with a better one. In fact, I said once I complete my ASM run, I'm going to go through my entire collection again, going, okay, time for an upgrade list. Now, you know, the upgrade list is the condition that I want, no settling this time.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm kind of like, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
I just want to complete it.
But now I can go, I can spend the next 50 years building the collection I want instead of building the quality that I want instead of trying to fill it in. So it's like going,
okay. Nice.
Does it ever feel like a job? Like a second
it's a great job.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. That's you're probably right.
You know, I'd love to be the kind of channel. In fact, that's a big goal. I'd love the kind of channel to go out and buy a couple of runs or a couple of collections, sell it for 4 times what I paid for it. You reinvest half that money in more collections and sell it and invest in half that. I would love to make an actual job of this, just doing YouTube to upgrade and all that. I would love this to be my actual job.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think that's what we all would. That's why we're on here.
So that is the ultimate goal. If I can do that, if I can make a career in a sense of financially supportable thing where I'm just buying and selling books, then I could actually get even better, you know, into that spec stuff like that, and just research, spend hours researching. Well, this might be specking here soon based on what's going on. So I'm going to put an extra 0 at the end and call it and sell it.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. Like, especially with the new stuff, like specking on that stuff is like, I try to like look at all like the app stuff and just see like what they think is going to be like the hot books coming out. Like I find that harder than anything. So if you guys could do that, it's,
you know, if the specking was the U, I kind of catch it right here, right before or right after kind of a thing. You know, like the whole Batman Down #1 and the Batwing, you know, that was in there. By the time my LCS actually got some copies because they sold out and bought more, and I bought 2 copies and I sold one. I wasn't getting the $200 for it anymore. I think I sold it for just under $75.
I still have mine. I never sold it.
Yeah,
I still made a good money off of it, and still made more than money out of it. But I just missed it. So I don't spec ultimately. If I spec books or sell books, it's older books after the fact. Going like I have some Eternal books that I could group 1 through 3, and I could sell those if I really wanted to right before the movie comes out. In a sense, again, before I hit that spike again and try to sell more. Or I can continue to hold on to them and have another set of the first 3 because I already have the first 3. So,
yeah, that was one of the books we did on the when we did the buy, sell, or hold. That was one of them that I said, is it time to sell that book, or should we just kind of hang on? But
yeah,
I had one like way back, and I ended up selling that way too soon too.
Yeah. I had 2 copies that I sold. And but again, I mean, for what I bought them for. And what I sold them for, I mean, I still made a profit on them. So I can't be too disappointed. But yeah, I mean, it's funny that, I mean, I think ultimately, like, I mean, we all love to do this as a profession and a job that actually is sustainable, and you can bank on it. It's tough, right?
We have all those new suckers, collectors into the market here. So
I mean, it's tough. I mean, and the speculation. Is really like driving the market and some of these prices up, and it's tough to know which books are actually going to like spike and stuff like that. I mean, you have to do a lot of research and a lot of reading previews and kind of forums and all this. I don't have that kind of time. I mean, I try to like just spec on characters and stuff that I feel like have a chance, and I think there will be good characters, and I just kind of pick up their books here and there. I picked up that West Coast Avengers 45, the first White Vision. I picked it up in a flea market for $1, and it was a beater. I mean, it wasn't the greatest condition. It was foxing and a bunch of stuff. And when everything spiked, and I was like, you know what? I sold it for like $60.
Yeah,
it was beat up. It was beat to hell, and I still got $60 for it. I paid $1 for it. I bought it way before the show came out and everything. It was just one of those things where I'm like, you know what? Maybe, and again, if it doesn't pan out, I paid $1 for it. Yeah. So
I found I found the what 10 it is, the first Jane as Thor or Thordia or whatever it is. I found it in a garage sale for $1. Nice. And then the whole Thor Love and Thunder comes out. I'm going like, I could sell this. I could sell it. It's a rougher, 4.0 kind of a thing. I could sell this, but like, no, I like the book and I love Jane. Yeah. And I love the idea, and I love her idea. I love the idea of a female Thor, and so I wasn't going to sell it. Yeah. But I just don't like going. It's one of those things where I actually found the book ahead of time. Here comes the news, and it's like, I'm actually ahead of the game.
Exactly.
Do I cash in?
I know. I love that. I'm like, yes, I'm finally ahead.
So Jason Ovian said he was trying to get the first Sabretooth, but wow, that book has also exploded. Dude, if you've been watching my videos, I've been talking about that book for like the past 4 months that like it was so undervalued. Bronze Key. Like I was snatching that book up anytime I found them raw. So now they're getting pricey. But I'm telling you, you can still go out and get one for a decent price.
That's a good book. I think that's a book that you can still go hunting for, right? I mean, try not to just jump on eBay. I think you can find it. There's LCSs that have that book, and you might be able to get a deal. Don't just jump on eBay, but that's a great book. That's another book that I would like to have. Great book.
Well, a lot of those non-huge key Bronze Age ones are kind of like where that next level is, like where we should be looking, in my opinion. Because the Silver Age stuff it's gone crazy, and the big time Bronze Age books have gone crazy. But like, the mid-level keys from the Bronze Age, that's the next place to look.
Oh yeah,
I would definitely agree with staying away. Lo said about staying away from eBay if you can for some of the things. And sometimes I just don't mind. Like if I don't care, I'll go to eBay, kind of thing. But like my ASM 2, 3, and 129 here. I wanted the book. Actually, I wanted the book, and whatever. I'm going like, I bought this one book from Absolute Comics and Collectibles on Instagram, and I'm like going like, he's on eBay as well. huh. So I go to Instagram going, hey, I want this book you have listed on eBay. What's the best you can do on this so we can avoid the eBay fees for selling for you and the buyer for me? And so I saved like $600 off a book just by avoiding eBay.
Oh, yeah.
I do that all the time on Instagram. Hey, what are you willing to do off of eBay? And I sell books like that too, the same way. People who know me on eBay, it's like I kind of have to like put it in encoded words, hey, I'm this on Instagram if you want to message me. And it works sometimes, but people come off and be like, oh yeah, I know where you are, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
so that works.
Definitely.
Any questions? Because I'm out of questions. That was my last one. Anything you guys want to answer or throw or talk about before we end this thing?
Well, what's your guys' opinion on fine art or art kind of thing? Because I have on my wall here, I have a couple of ASM paintings that I've done and prints, or comic book covers, just like I said, I've started a little bit of prints and a little bit of pops, just stuff that goes with my comic book collecting, but hasn't taken it over. But what do you guys think about the whole the printing or the print or the prints or whatever it is as far as statues and everything related to that as far as collecting goes? Is that something worth investing in, or just like a fun little side thing you're not diving too deep in because it's another black hole?
Yeah.
Okay, you go first.
It could get you in trouble, right? I think the thing with like the original art and statues and stuff like that, those are more like niche markets, and especially with like original art, right? It's a one of a kind piece, right? So it's hard to gauge the price of like a resale of that. So it's really tough. You mean unless it's a well-known artist or writer or something like that, and it's really tough to kind of gauge those prices. I mean, it's basically whatever you're willing to pay for it. So it's kind of tough in that sense. I mean, like I said, that's my first original art. And, it's not anything special. I just wanted to like dip my toes in and stuff like that. And it looked cool and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, I'll just grab this because I just wanted an original art piece. But it's tough to like really get into that. If you want to get like Jim Lee or something like that, like they're astronomical, right?
The crazy prices.
Because it's one of a kind, right? I mean, that's all it is. Statues, same thing, right? I'll get a statue only if it's something that I want, right? I'm not looking to resell it. It's just something for me personally, right? Like this is, I love this came out and I was like, I don't have a Hulk 181. That's just the reprint or whatever. I don't have the actual book, but I'll get this, But yeah, it's just, and I have a couple other ones you see like my Punisher and stuff like that. So I do have some, and I have some artwork and some prints. Some of these things I got from like cons and stuff. And things like that. But yeah, I mean, I love getting artwork. I have some more art on the wall that you can't really see on the side here. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for getting art and stuff like that. I think it is part of the comic culture, right? I mean, just getting
all art,
just getting books. Yeah. You will eventually, even if you just start in comics, you will eventually branch off and start buying this and that. Like even Reggie, right? When he was there, it was always comics. He's like, I'm not a really statue guy. I'm not this guy. And then all of a sudden, it's like statue popped up, popped up.
Yeah. I understand that kind of thing. As a kid, I was so into reading. I was so into reading and all that. And then a couple of 2 years ago, I read a book on Leonardo da Vinci, and it inspired me to try and take up art, to painting again, because I was a pretty decent artist as a kid. But I was kind of more along the lines of a stick figure kind of guy because I'm too picky. But I just decided to try it out, and I started getting into painting, and I got better and better because I figured out a way to make it work for me. And then like I said, as I was getting my tattoo touched up, and I stared at that comic book, and I bought it. Comic book combined my love of reading, my love of artwork, and all that kind of thing. It's just it was a way to combine all these micro portions of who I was into one thing. And so like I said, I have a couple of prints, and there's no single unique pieces. There are prints that kind of been a couple people can get, like one I get as a supporter of a Patreon, at a certain thing. So everyone who supports at a certain level gets this print. And so, it's not unique by any means, but yeah, it's just, all of it's just for me. I'm not reselling it at all. Just it's cool.
For me, like I have a few statues as well. I have the Hulk Wolverine one like you. I have the bootleg one from China though. But I have like little things that kind of like make my room look a little better. Like I always liked like when I was a kid, I have this Spider-Man statue that my dad bought me when we went to a comic shop. I had to be like 4 or 5 years old, but I still have the freaking thing. It's next. You could see it up there in the top shelf of the glass cabinet there. So like the little things like that kind of bring everything together, you know. So that's why I don't know how these guys like Gem Mint buy these like $3,000 statues, dude. I'm like, holy crap! Like I couldn't imagine, but he makes it work. But I can't.
Yeah, like got a little small statue thing from Walmart for $45.
Yeah, I mean something like that's cool. Like it kind of brings the room together with the books and the art. I only actually own 2 pieces of original art. One, it's actually a dude on Instagram, Kuma's Comics, dude. He replicates like famous covers, all original art, 17 by 11, like giant size, and it's freaking amazing, and they're affordable. If you guys are into it, he's amazing what he does. I have a reprint of the Hulk 1 that he did, you know, original art. It's unbelievable. And it's like aged, the paper's aged. I couldn't turn it down. He did it like special for me, but he does for everybody. He does like, if you want one, he'll do like classic covers for you if you're into that stuff. So
well, you might have to tell me his info afterwards, because I thought about it. Because there's another guy here on Instagram that I found on we found listening to Reggie. He did his painting of Fantastic Four 49.
Yeah.
And I kept on thinking, like, man, that would be worth it for $600 to get a kind of thing like that. But which cover would I get? You know, kind of thing. You know, do I get my AF-15 because that's ultimately the ultimate Grail, or do I get like 300?
He just did the 300, dude. It was unbelievable. They raffled it off. It went for over $1,000. Like that's how awesome it was. Like, but if you just get like commission one from him, it's not that bad at all. But his work is unbelievable.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'll shoot you his info. Definitely worth it if you're looking for original art.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to.
All right, Carlos, you or we're gonna end this thing.
I'm good. I'm good.
All right, guys. Thank you for hopping on with me for doing this. I think it's definitely helpful for me because, like I said, I was kind of getting nervous about buying stuff right now. So I hope anyone out there watching this kind of, you know, settles your nerves a little bit. And I hope you guys got something out of it as well. So again, thank you. Hopefully maybe we'll do this again sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Thank you again for jumping on. And like always, everyone out there, thanks for watching.
All right,
Good night.
Later.
Peace.